What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You dead meat!
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us. I feel like I need to catch my breath.
I know, yeah. This was our second time seeing the movie, and
Yeah.
I feel like it was even more impactful this time.
It honestly was. Like, we saw it the first time to prep for this. We saw it just the two of us, three of us. We saw it was like a private thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think seeing it with a room full of people, I felt like out of breath by the end. I think just being surrounded by people made it hit a lot harder.
Seeing the reactions, and
Yeah.
especially to the end where I think a lot of people were maybe familiar with the book's ending, so being taken by surprise by the drastic change.
Look, I don't know about you, but I'm shaking right now. I'm equally as emotional. It gets me in my gut every time. There's JT, he's testing, and it was so cool to watch. I was standing right over there. I was watching you guys react to this, and it was so cool to see how invested you all were in this movie. And you can't help but be part of this walk when you're watching this film, right? Don't you feel like you were part of it too?
And to cast somebody who makes Stebbins mildly likable is a big fucking deal. So kudos to Garrett Waring, man. That's like amazing. It's amazing. I think you the work you did makes that character so empathetic, and it meant a lot to see that brought to life in that way.
Before we started, I mentioned that this was always one of my favorite Stephen King books. I read it as a kid. People may not be surprised to hear that I actually would write down who died when, kept a little kill list while I was reading the book. And so since I was a kid, I wanted to see a movie version of it, but it was pretty clear, even as a kid reading it, that this would be a very difficult book to turn into a movie. And I know that they've been wanting to do it for a while.
I was going to say, this had a famously troubled production history. This was a really difficult one to bring to screen. Like, how long had this been in production? Like, for years, I think.
Hello? Finally an opportunity to help Roy Lee with something.
It had been in development with other people for decades.
Yeah.
And I got it like right around when the strike was, like within 2 years of getting the rights and filming it, we're done. Like this.
Oh, that's really fast then.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roy goes fast. He really does. He gets through, like, it's crazy how he puts things together and they just happen.
I auditioned for this initially 4 or 5 years ago, a different company entirely, and I believe the boy who was cast as Stebbins is sitting right there. Hi, Devin.
Wow.
And it's
That's weird.
isn't that cool? We're good buddies, and the fact that we were able to bring this to life, and Roy was able to spearhead this production and like get this made, and JT just did a fantastic job adapting the novel. Who here has read the book? I saw your reactions to the ending. How crazy was that, huh? He took this source material and kept it true to its nature, but also elevated it in a way for the screen to make audiences, both of fans of the book and new audiences, made it really engaging for all of them.
Yeah, do we want to read a little bit from the book? I thought we could do something kind of different from a typical Q&A. I was wondering if this would be okay with the three of you. I picked out a little passage from the very end of the book because I think our audience would be very surprised to hear how different the very end of the book is. I would love to hear Garrett read a little bit of the end.
Happily, wow, yeah.
Thank God, Garrett Reed. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
audiobook.
And then Roy and JT.
And then
you
Roy
can
and
discuss.
JT, I would love to hear you talk about
Yeah.
the changes made with the ending, because Stephen King famously, it's very difficult to adapt, especially his endings. They are very difficult to bring to the screen. Here, I will grab the
Yeah, it almost reminds
book.
me of The Mist, where famously
I
Stephen King.
love Darabant's work on The Mist.
Yes.
That's
And
And
fucking
that's an
amazing,
ending
amazing
where
movie.
And King
infamously
himself.
Stephen King is like, well, why didn't I think of that?
Well, I have to say, like, seeing Stephen King's interviews, like when I talked to Francis about this idea about changing the narrative, the narrative DNA, but not the emotional DNA of the ending, we had to run it by Stephen King. And I was a little bit nervous until I saw an interview with Stephen King about The Mist. And I realized, even though he has every right to be precious because he's the most famous living writer we have, he isn't. He lacks ego, and he said that he liked the ending of The Mist better than his own. So I was like, maybe he'll dig this.
Just
And-
to
and
cue
he
this
did.
up, the ending of the book, Peter is actually he goes, and then it comes down to Stebbins and Garrett.
Sorry,
Garrity.
Garrett.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm still
I
very
know.
grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, I wonder if you were like, oh, you mean my character goes out earlier?
I got
than
bronze,
the book?
baby. Well, look, let's get into this then. This is the audiobook recording.
There you go.
Garrett Waring reading the end of the long walk. Look, so Stebbins turned and looked at Garrity with huge floating eyes that saw nothing for a moment. Then recognition came, and he reached out and clawed at Garrity's shirt, pulling it open. The crowd screamed its anger at this interference, but only Garrity was close enough to see the horror in Stebbins' eyes. The horror, the darkness, and only Garrity knew that Stebbins' grip was a last despairing reach for rescue. "Oh, Garrity," he cried, and fell down. Now the sound of the crowd was apocalyptic. It was the sound of mountains falling and breaking, the earth shattering. The sound crushed Garrity easily beneath it. It would have killed him if he had heard it, but he heard nothing but his own voice. "Stebbins?" he said curiously. He bent and somehow managed to turn Stebbins over. Stebbins still stared at him, but the despair had only skimmed over. His head rolled bonelessly on his neck. He put a cupped hand in front of Stebbins' mouth. "Stebbins," he said again, but Stebbins was dead. Garrity lost interest. He got to his feet and began to walk. Now the cheers filled the earth and the fireworks filled the sky. Up ahead, a jeep roared toward him. "No vehicles on the road, you damn fool. That's a capital offense. They can shoot you for that." The major stood in that jeep. He held a stiff salute, ready to grant first wish, every wish, any wish, death wish, the prize. Behind him, they finished by shooting the already dead Stebbins, and now there was only him, alone on the road, walking toward where the major's jeep had stopped diagonally across the white line. And the major was getting out, coming to him, his face an unreadable behind the mirrored glasses. Garrity stepped aside. He was not alone. The dark figure was back, up ahead, not far, beckoning. He knew that figure. If he could get a little closer, he could make out the features. Which one hadn't he walked down? Was it Barkovich, Collie Parker, Percy? What's his name? Who was it? "Garrity!" the crowd screamed deliriously. "Garrity! Garrity! Garrity!" Was it Scram, Gribble, Davidson? A hand on his shoulder. Garrity took it off impatiently. The dark figure beckoned in the rain, beckoned for him to come and walk, to come and play the game. And it was time to get started. There was still so far to walk. Eyes blind, supplicating hands held out behind him as if for alms, Garrity walked toward the dark figure. And when the hand touched his shoulder again, he somehow found the strength to run.
That was written by a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He was
Yeah, if you didn't know,
19.
that was the first thing. This was the first book Stephen King ever wrote. It wasn't the first one published, but he wrote it as a sophomore in college.
I think he said in a recent interview he wrote it to impress a girl. So I love it.
Any girls
Yeah,
impressed?
but I'm-
Yeah, let's go. So the ending of the book is a bit more arbitrary and open-ended.
Stephen Kingy.
A little bit more Stephen Kingy. So
Abstract, definitely not
there you go.
arbitrary.
Yeah.
More abstract. So where did the decision come to change it? Was that a producer decision, Roy, or was that with you, JT?
That was Roy's decision.
JT just gave the script to me, and I warned the agent, Stephen King's agent, that we changed the ending before we sent it to him. He's like, "Roy, you cannot change the ending of this book. It has too many fans. People will be up in arms. Stephen won't like it." I go, "Just send it to him, and if he doesn't like it, JT will change it." And the next day we got a call that he loved it and there was no changes needed, except reducing it from 4 miles an hour to 3 miles an hour.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Thank God. In the book, they walk 4 miles per hour. Stephen King didn't know what he was talking about. Because if you get on a treadmill and you put 4 miles per hour, it is an awkward pace. It's like between.
If that's the only thing he screwed up when he was 19 years old writing, it's pretty amazing. I've been a writer my whole life, and at 19, I wrote some shit that is not very good. So the crazy thing is that this guy wrote that at 19. And I think that I wasn't surprised that he liked the ending, because I feel like the ending was very faithful to the book and the book's themes and the book's, I don't like to say messaging, but observations. It still has the same DNA, the ending, but we wanted, for the constant readers, for those Stephen King fans here, and I'm one of you, we wanted to honor him and honor you and give you something to chew on, like give you a surprise, and also keep those themes intact. And thank God Stephen King felt that way, you know, because if he didn't like it, I would have been mortified.
Well, you're still kind of incorporating this shadowy figure without showing it so literally. It's the idea of looking for the good in something and how much that hurts sometimes to do and how much that hurts to chase ultimately in the end.
We actually had a shadowy figure shot, and
did.
we tested it, and it confused more than it enlightened our audiences, and everyone was like, "What was that figure? What?" Just it was just unexplained. People just didn't get it.
Was
Test screenings. Yeah.
Was it a CGI or was it a guy?
I actually played the dark figure.
Were you?
Yeah, just so tall
In
and
like a
brooding.
suit?
It was hard to play both roles at the same time.
I guess
but, yeah.
so.
Actually, early on in the movie, they're walking by a church, and there's a woman that's standing there. It's her that's throughout, and she's more of a ghost figure. At
And
the
she was in the book too, standing by the church. But then they brought her back to be the like shadowy figure at the end.
I'm curious what other changes were made between early cuts of the film and this one.
I think the movie. It's weird to do a Q&A ever with the director not present, because it's Francis Lawrence's movie.
So
And-
Francis.
They told me that last time I did a Q&A. It's Francis's movie, and it really is. Like, I mean, it's everything that happened, even the draft of the script that we did that ended up being greenlit was so, through Francis's lens, and then the casting was like, oh, Francis. This version of the movie is very, very close to Francis's initial cut. There was that thing that Roy brought up, but it's not much different. Like he cut this movie really fast. Like, I mean, the director's cut happened, and there were a few notes, and then it was. I mean, everything happened fast.
One of the interesting things that we learned at the Comic-Con Hall H panel is that the movie was shot chronologically.
Yeah.
Right? Or more or less.
That detail devastated me. I think as an actor, that must have been really devastating.
I think it was such a blessing because you could make choices early on that then you could carry through consistently throughout the rest of the production. But what was the emotional side of it was the fact that we were all walking together. The background actors, the crew members, Francis, everybody was there walking with us. And so when we were walking with these boys, we got to know these boys. And we walked 261 miles throughout the course of this production. And I mean, man, thank you. Thank you. That's walking to San Diego and back. But yeah, I think when we got towards the end and these boys started to fall off, it was not only a farewell to their characters, but also them as boys. And we would do this thing. We would get the 80s would give us these Happy Death Day buttons, and we knew that these days would be coming up, and we would it was wear it like a badge of honor. There'd be balloons in our trailer, and when we said goodbye to our co-stars, we said goodbye to these characters. We said goodbye to our friends, and so those farewells began to get quite emotional. And I remember the last time they called cut on me. I knew it was the last time. We had gotten what we needed from that monologue, and I just burst into tears. I mean, it was a long walk, well walked, and I walked along some very talented, kind individuals, and I'm very thankful for this experience.
Thanks, guys.
How early on in production was that choice made to shoot chronologically? Was that a choice made by you out of...
That was one of the things Francis told me early on that he wanted to do. He wanted to do a low budget movie that shot chronologically. And for him, 20 million was low budget.
Everything's relative.
Right, coming from Hunger Games, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, that's,
Very low.
Right.
And where was it shot? Remind me.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Initially I thought we were going to be walking on like some sort of treadmill situation, and there was going to be like an LED background, and we would be in air conditioned spaces. But on our first table read through, our AD said, "Hey boys, like buckle in, rain, snow, shine, day, night. We are doing this regardless of the conditions. We are equipped to make this happen. Our cameras were all on go-karts, our sound team go-karts, our hair and makeup team, everybody's mobile, our crafty, everything. So we could continue walking for an entire mile and do an entire take and then reset and do it all again."
I mean, they physically changed throughout the movie, and it was
can
not
see us
makeup.
lose weight.
Yeah, like people lost weight, people looked tired. I mean, they physically changed, and they mentally changed as well.
Were there any injuries, even like minor sprains or?
I don't want to like gross anybody out. Rank, shout out to Damon who played Rank, that kid who skinned his face. I mean, just wonderful.
Yeah,
His
that
first
face
movie,
skin is gross.
so good.
Yeah.
His first film, and I'm such a fan of his. And we were all walking. This was the day that he was,
He was really good.
He was great.
He was really good.
And he was like, "Hey guys, wait 1 second. I think I got something in my shoe." He pulls off his Converse and his socks are filled with blood. Filled. And we all had blisters. We all had bruises. I mean, those limps that you saw towards the end, those were all real. I was not acting. It was brutal.
Your poor wardrobe department. The end of every day, just like, thank you so much for
Thank you so much. Here's my
giving all
sweaty
the socks
underwear.
back.
Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you mentioned the physical changes, and one of the things I noticed is like the belts that they're given have all these loops because the characters are going to be losing weight too during this process. But it's just one of those small things that isn't addressed, but when you're watching it, you just pick up on it. And I love that about the script is that there's so much that is it doesn't over-explain things. Like even the setting is a little bit ambiguous. I know that King wrote this, in the late 60s, early 70s?
Yeah, it would have been during Vietnam.
Yeah, it was heavily inspired by Vietnam. So does the movie also take place in the 70s? It seems like it, as far as like the cars and everything goes.
We talked about how we were going to do that, and Francis wanted to make the movie take place like out of time.
Yeah.
I think it was a great idea, as if at some point in U.S. history, like a major thing happened that was different than we're used to. Like there was a war that wasn't won. And so that's why there's sort of a weird mishmash of things from times before, but then there's behavior, like modern behavior. And so it was his idea. And I also, it was really important to me not to over-explain or get into too much backstory or exposition, and Francis really wanted to do it that way, and I think that's what really kind of separated this from his other films. I feel like even though it's got similar themes to a movie like The Hunger Games, it's a very different movie, and it was about the characters and those interactions, and it's all the things happening in it are representative of something. And getting into the minutia was never important to him. And that was a big, that was very, very inspiring when I was writing the script.
Yeah, I love that they just refer to the war. Like, we don't know if it's a fictional war, Vietnam, whatever. It doesn't really matter. That's not the important thing. Yeah. But at the same time, I love that the country they're living in is, it's the United States, and it has the DNA of the U.S. that was present then, present now. It's the major telling these boys, thank you for what you're doing. We're going to see a spike in GDP after this. Like, thank you so much for your sacrifice. We can be productive and manly again. Thank you for your sack. And I love his obsession with sack.
He says sack.
I love that you love that.
I feel like it says a lot about that character.
It does. I mean, it's that was a weird thing too. Sack being in there. No, it really was, because I thought somebody
was it in the book?
Me, no, somebody asked me. There's a strange. It's hard to know where the book ends and the script begins at this point, because I read the book so many times and I wrote the script, and somebody was interviewing me a couple weeks ago and was like, sack's only used in the book a couple times, and like in the movie it's like throughout the whole movie. And I was like, was it in the book? I thought I came up with that. And it was not in the book, but it just feels like something that guy. We all know that guy, right? But he's not really even a guy. He's a construct. He's an archetype. He represents something. And aside from the dark humor that is associated with the character, because there is a scene that you and Garrett are in where Garrett is like shut the fuck up, and I think it's so funny, and people are willing to laugh, in the audience, which is great. But that character represents something so dark and so insidious that you can't destroy that by killing one person. And so it's one of those things where I think it was a brilliant choice by Francis for Mark Hamill to play that role. And I didn't see it at first, but now I see it. And he had sack to take that role. I think he really did.
He reminds me of, and forgive me, I forget the actor's name in Battle Royale. He was like known as a comedic actor in Japan, cast as the kind of, similarly like the mascot of this death game, but he's a terrifying character in it, where he's kind of the ringleader of this thing, and he's the authority figure, and it makes it so scary. Like Mark Hamill, he's Luke Skywalker.
He's a sweetie pie.
Right, but he comes in.
He really
is.
too.
Yeah. I mean, how is it? I mean, we got to talk about that too.
We got Star Wars fans in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, myself included. you know, when you work with names like Mark Hamill, you know, they exist in this ephemeral space that's like, oh, it's Mark Hamill. It's like this. He's this mythos, right? And he's coming onto set, and we're meeting him for the first time. And the moment that he steps onto set, he goes from being Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, to being my coworker Mark. And he was so kind. His first stuff was the big monologue at the beginning of the movie, and we were all 50 boys were there, and we were all so excited to meet him. We're all so nervous, and he's like, "Forgive me, I am drowning in dialogue, and I will talk to all of you after I get this done. But please let me learn these lines, and then I will speak to all of you." And he had all these wonderful stories he shared, and you know, hearing him speak the way he does about his life, it's just brilliant. It was really cool to work with someone of his I guess caliber, and to know how kind he is as well, which is kind of contrarian to the Major.
That was another change from the book. In the book, it's 100 boys, and here it's 50. Was that your call, or Roy, was that you being like, we got to save on budget?
Roy makes all the decisions.
Too many boys.
Too many boys. Was that just to simplify it?
It was I called Francis and said, "Are you cool with 50?" You know, because it seemed like what we had to do. You know, and if it was 100. And these characters are all so compelling in the book. It's written really, really well. If it was 100, we'd have to do this as a 8-episode, you know, limited series. Like, there's no way you could do that in a couple hours and make it and do it right, you know. So yeah, we had to cut it down to 50, and even the Musketeers are a smaller group than they are in the book, and that was tough. Like figuring out what to lose and what to keep and what to amalgamate. I mean, Stebbins is definitely different in the book because there's more than just Stebbins in the Stebbins character you're seeing here now.
It must have been challenging for you as the writer to choose what to keep and choose what to omit, but like you did such a great job walking that line and finding the core of these characters and bringing those to life. It's a good job.
No, it's true.
What is it?
Thank you.
Kill your darlings.
Yeah.
Your strange darling.
Kill your strange darling.
Kill your strange darling.
Yeah, I mean,
you so much,
adapting
brother.
Stephen King is obviously not the easiest thing to do. I think part of that is because he writes in a very it feels like it's the 50s sometimes. Sometimes he uses some hokey language.
His vocabulary is so specific to him.
Yeah, and it works on the page always because you're reading a Stephen King novel. But sometimes when it translates to movies, it doesn't come out naturally or doesn't sound right. But I feel like the way that you adapted it and the way that this cast handled it, everything felt right. Like, I'm thinking of Olsen, I feel like he has a lot of that dialogue.
How great was Ben, by the way?
Dude,
how
he's
great was
so
Ben
good,
Wong in
right?
this movie? Oh my
So
god!
funny.
Like
So many laughs.
he could so easily be like a caricature of a Stephen
Yeah.
King character. He's chewing the gum. He's got his little hat. He's just but he pulls it off. He feels like a real person.
No, but Ben came in with that accent. That was not written in. It wasn't Olsen's character. He came in with that accent, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" I was in the table read, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
And we were all dying laughing through the whole table read, and it was so extreme, and then it was so good. Like, he committed so fully to it that I really liked it, and then we had this idea that he would just have this piece of gum. He kept chewing and chewing, 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 and putting in his pocket. He didn't want to litter, and I think he did such a great job.
Yeah, his
it was
ability
really
to
cool.
just throw away lines, like the one about it's
I'll
me
eat
and the
my
gum.
fucking shoe.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Was there
That was a Stephen King line. It was great. Yeah. If he's 18, I'll eat my fucking shoe, something like that. But not with that accent. I mean,
was there room left for improv, or is all of it pretty much?
Majorly. I mean, there's to fill in. These tanks were really loud, and so we had a hard time like hearing each other. And so there were the moments where we kind of like felt the freedom to like explore, and specifically when things get more like physical and more intense. There's a come on, man, like you're finding this groove together. And Francis was a big proponent of exploring these dynamics, and the dialogue would kind of shift day to day, and we would edit it in the morning, and we would figure out what works best as we went. And the Stebbins monologue,
the script sucks, so they just had to figure out like what they were.
the script was incredible. But the Stebbins monologue, we actually had dinner the night before, and we kind of found new things to add to it, and it was changing and ever adapting as we went because we shot chronologically. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The third act has a lot of like improv or kind of on-set rewrites and
Banter too.
Yeah, and for the most part, I really, really like it. I think Stebbins.
For the most part.
I think that Stebbins' death is like, I walked in today and was able to watch it, and it's his moment there is one of my favorite in the whole movie. I think it's and it's not just because he's sitting next to me. It's really, really emotional, and it's really, really heartfelt, and it doesn't feel, to me, it doesn't feel overly sentimental or syrupy when he's dying. It really feel. I love your rabbit speech, and there's lots of augmentation that happened there. They're not reading it exactly how it was written, and I think it's just really, really elegant and really beautiful. Like that scene, I loved it, and there were changes there, and I liked them a lot.
Another thing that I think is just barely subtextual in the movie, and I know it's something that fans of the book have read into. Was it intentional, I'm assuming, to have some hint at a romantic relationship between Peter and Garrity? Because I think a lot of people, they're going to say there is, and, it seems like it to me.
What do you think, Roy?
I hadn't thought of that, but it could be.
Trust me, the internet has.
Heard it here. Yeah, the internet.
has. I'm not the director of the movie, and even if I was, I don't like to explain myself or explain the movie. But I love it that that's being brought up and asked, and I think that the movie's it's a love story. It's about love, and it's about loyalty and relationships, and losing people that you're close with, and once you get to the end of it all, like if you worked hard to get all this money or whatever, and you don't have the people you love around anymore, like what does it really matter? And so that central relationship is so important to me and so important to the story, and that makes me happy that people, all have different ideas about the form of love they have for each other. It's brotherhood, and it's many other things,
Yeah, you compared it to like Lord of the Rings.
A little bit. I mean, that's a bunch of guys on a very long walk, and two, it's that there's something very appealing about that too, in terms of like the emotional journey and the different types of that's a love story as well. I find a lot of parallels between those two stories.
Yeah, that you notice that already you're seeing fans of this movie from like kind of a teenage girl demographic.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a lot of teen girls really glom onto this.
That's great, because people were worried it was going to be such a male audience.
Not
and that
at all,
was it.
I think. That's what was making me think of Lord of the Rings, is I was like, it's making me nostalgic. Yeah.
Watch those boys walk.
Watch them walk. Go watch them walk. September 12th, go watch them walk.
What was the discussion of about how to depict the violence? Because I think 95% of the movies we're watching where it's this subject matter, it's cutting away on all those gunshots. But I mean, from that first one with Curly, it is fucking brutal, and there are so many throughout it. And it's like Garrity says, you never get used to it. It's throughout the entire movie, every single one of them hits so hard, and even near the end, I'm hearing people in this audience gasp as it happens to these characters who we've spent all this time with and grown to love. So was there ever a discussion of maybe pulling back and making it less violent?
No, from the very start, I told JT to make it as violent and dark as possible, just because Stephen King's only request to me was it has to be R-rated, and he wanted it contractual in the deal with Lionsgate, which they wouldn't do. So I just had to guarantee to him that it would be R-rated, so that's why
it's easy when you hire me to write the script.
So I went to JT and said, make it as violent as you can, make it as many cuss words, just make it R-rated. And so that's what he did.
Well, I think it makes it just so effective because, I mean, it's what the story is about. It's we're going on this journey with these kids where they start this walk and it's more of an abstract concept, and then they see it happen and it impacts them just like it's hitting the audience. And that's the Vietnam.
I was
War
about to say,
allegory.
you've got to have the visuals too, because if he's writing it during Vietnam, and you're going to have the Vietnam parallels and all the director's statements too. He obviously couldn't be here tonight, but the director's statements, he talks a lot about Vietnam, and that was some of the first televised footage of war that Americans are getting, and it's visuals that are coming into our homes, and it's if you're going to make that parallel, you've got to have the accompanying visuals. Otherwise, I just don't think it's as effective as an analog.
I mean, not just ineffective but obscene and kind of offensive, you know. And I think the movie Francis wanted to make when I met with him, and I wasn't sure what movie he'd want to make. He's made all different kinds of movies. He's a very prolific, like legendary studio director. And so when he told me he wanted to go all the way with this movie, and Roy said, "Go all the way with the movie," I was like, "That's the movie I want to make. You know, that's the movie I want to write. And the movie Francis wanted to make, I wanted to write." And so I think if you don't show violence honestly, that's the obscenity, you know? And, you know, Stephen King said that. That's why he didn't want the movie to be rated R and graphic because of his brand. He doesn't care about his brand at this point. He is what he is. But he wanted to be honest about, you know, these teenagers getting shot in the head. Like, to not show that honestly would be really disrespectful. And he wanted us to do it right.
Well, you definitely did. It's a fantastic movie, and thank you so much for making it. You know, it's great.
Yeah. And,
I wish Francis was here. I really do. Yeah. And Robert Craighead and Cato Space are in the audience right there too. They're very, very important people. So please say hello. Cato's my music supervisor and one of my best friends, and Robert Craighead's a very, very great actor who's been in a number of things with Garrett as well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those two.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us for this, and thank you everyone for coming out. The movie will be out on September 12th, and we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for coming. It is a dear honor to be here with you all to celebrate art and film. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.